Hello, users, and welcome to another episodic installation of Above It All. And today, a new details came out. At least maybe this was yesterday, sometime, September 10th. That's today, 4:14 a.m. New details came out in the police shooting of Michael Reinoehl, and I think it's pretty interesting. So I'm going to take a look at this. Now, obviously, there's going to be a bunch of triggered, or at least trigger-happy conservatives in the comment section that are going to be like, "Oh, BLM for terrorists, god dang rioters and looters, rioters and looters." And so I've made very clear that I condemn the use of guns for the intent to kill people. I've made this clear. I'm not going to repeat myself. Go watch my previous videos on this subject. But what I am going to do is I am going to read this updated article, and the main reason I'm so interested in the police execution of this person is because it violates several clauses of the Constitution. And I would like to remind everyone that the police, their job is not to be the judge, their job is not to be the jury, and their job is not to be the executioner. So when they go in squad formation and shoot 30 to 40 times at someone who's unarmed, that's problematic just as far as our constitutional rights go. Police shot Portland slaying suspect without warning or trying to arrest him first, witness says. And I got this open in incognito, so I can't do the text highlighter. When police last week surrounded Michael Forrest Reinoehl, a self-described anti-fascist suspected of fatally shooting a member of a far-right group in Portland, Oregon, the wanted man wasn't obviously armed, a witness to the scene said Wednesday. In fact, according to Nate Dingus, unfortunate last name, Reinoehl was clutching a cell phone and eating a gummy worm as he walked to his car outside an apartment complex in Lacey, Washington. That's when officers opened fire without first announcing themselves or trying to arrest him. Dingus, a 39-year-old who lives in the apartment complex, said in a statement shared with the Washington Post. Dingus's account of the September 3rd fatal shooting, first reported by the Oregonian, I'm so sorry, that sounds like a Skyrim race, contradicts details offered by federal authorities, who said Reinoehl, 48, pulled a gun as members of a fugitive task force tried to arrest him. Two other witnesses also told The Olympian they had seen Reinoehl fire a weapon at police. If Reinoehl did pull a gun, or was at least reaching for his weapon, police wouldn't have needed to warn him before opening fire. Now here's a question. If someone doesn't know that cops are near them, or doesn't know that anyone is watching them, why would they pull a gun? Like, it says, like, are they anticipating that this guy's just LARPing? It's like walking to his car. It's like, yeah, woohoo, yeah, woo! Like, that doesn't really make any sense. Dingus, whose attorney described him as an ordained minister, interesting, said he fears reprisals from far-right groups and police for describing what he saw unfolding outside his apartment. We are very concerned for our client's safety, for speaking out, both from the fascist right and retaliation by law enforcement. What's the difference? Said Luke Laughlin, his attorney, in a statement. Reinoehl's case unfolded against a national backdrop of escalating violence as protesters and far-left groups clashed with armed members of self-described militias and far-right organizations in Wisconsin, Oregon, and elsewhere. Prosecutors last week charged Reinoehl with fatally shooting Aaron J. Danielson, 39, on August 29th after supporters of President Trump clashed with counter-protesters in downtown Portland. In an interview with Vice News last week, Reinoehl suggested the shooting was self-defense and said he believed Danielson, a member of the far-right Patriot Prayer group, was threatening him and a friend. Now, again, I don't necessarily buy this. Even if that's the case, I don't necessarily endorse murder, of course. But, obviously, the police in this situation should have apprehended him, brought him in, and then let the justice system take care of it. Having a group of U.S. Marshals raining down on this guy and just killing him without any, identification or without any chance of surrender, that is unconstitutional. As national politicians, including Trump, demanded Reinoehl be swiftly arrested, officers in the Pacific Northwest Violent Offender Task Force tracked him to Lacey, about 120 miles north of Portland. There are also a few official details. There are few official details about what happened next. At least 4 members of the task force, which included officers from a variety of local agencies, fired dozens of times at Reinoehl. The U.S. Marshals Service later said he had a handgun, but it wasn't clear whether he had ever fired it at the police. Dingus said he never saw Reinoehl pull a gun. He said he watched as 2 unmarked police vehicles converged on Reinoehl as he was walking to his car, holding his phone and chewing on a piece of candy. The officers never audibly identified themselves and didn't try to arrest Reinoehl, Dingus said. Instead, he said they immediately began firing. When Reinoehl heard the gunfire, he ducked behind his car, which was pinned in by the law enforcement vehicles. He never tried to get inside, Dingus said, and he never saw him reaching for a weapon. Dingus said he watched police unleash rapid-fire rounds at Reinoehl, once pausing to shout, "Stop!" before resuming their fire. Dingus added officers waited multiple minutes before rendering medical aid to Reinoehl, who died at the scene from several gunshot wounds. The Thurston County Sheriff's Office, which is investigating Reinoehl's death, interesting, the cops are investigating cops, didn't immediately return a message about Dingus's account. A spokesman for the marshals declined to comment, citing the ongoing investigation. Laughlin called for the Thurston County Sheriff's Office to reassign their investigation, alleging the agency has a conflict of interest since it procured the search warrants against Reinoehl. A completely independent agency with no involvement in the events must conduct the investigation, Laughlin said. However, the level of involvement in TCSO in the criminal investigation of Reinoehl is questionable. So again, you don't have to endorse this guy's actions to think that police executing him without identifying themselves is bad. And my whole thing is about institutional abuses of power. Now, people shooting people in the streets, that's a problem. People murdering people for political disagreements, that's a problem. People inciting violence over political disagreements, that's a problem. But what's even more of a problem is when you have police shoot and kill people without ever identifying themselves, without ever giving people a chance to surrender, and without actually following proper protocol. We've seen time and time again, cops shoot people, cops shoot and kill people, or cops not shoot and kill people. And it's just ridiculous. You have all over the country police abusing their power and then getting away with it. And so this is why this case is so interesting, is because the idea that they're going to shoot him 30 to 40 times, not identify themselves, and then claim he had a gun without any evidence of this case. And you'd think if he did have a gun, wouldn't we have seen photos? Right? Like when recently, like there was this shooting in D.C. with cops, and they released a photo of him having a gun and what the gun looked like immediately. Whenever you see a lot of these instances where cops kill people and they have a gun, they will post that gun on social media to say, hey, look at what we did. And maybe that did happen with Michael Reinoehl. I don't know. I have no idea. I looked for it, but I didn't find it, but it might be out there, so please let me know if it is there. But what's interesting here is, again, there are going to be people out there that because they disagree with Michael Reinoehl, and I disagree with Michael Reinoehl, but because they disagree with Michael Reinoehl, they will all of a sudden forego any constitutional protections, decide to rip up the Constitution, and just, without any skepticism or critical nuance whatsoever, support the police and everything that they do. Blue lives matter! Blue lives matter! Law and order! They scream as the police violate law and violate order in the goal of pursuing their political beliefs. Because cops are political. Cops are not apolitical. Reminder, in the early 2000s, the FBI released a memo stating that white supremacists have successfully infiltrated law enforcement. That was over 10 years ago. The FBI actually admitted that over 10 years ago. So do you think it's far-fetched to assume that a U.S. Marshal Squad that was organized by President Trump, who tweeted when Michael Reinoehl was killed, within an hour, Trump was tweeting about this? Do you think it's too far-fetched that these people that were preying on Michael Reinoehl were far right-wing fascists with connections to the people that Michael killed? Talk about a conflict of interest. So again, this is super interesting. You see cops let Kyle Rittenhouse, someone who murdered several protesters in Kenosha, just walk on by? Just walk on home. Don't even care whatsoever. And then, in response to this situation, They don't even try to do anything peaceful. It's interesting. It really makes you think. And again, guess what? Michael probably, and could have if he had a gun, just started shooting back at the cops. I don't doubt that that's possible. But I think it's interesting that we haven't seen body cam footage yet. I think it's interesting that there's no actual evidence of this. I just think it's interesting. And when cops kill people, that is way more problematic than when people kill people. Now, again, people killing people is bad. But people killing people is not a violation of the Constitution. Police killing people is indeed a violation of the Constitution. And I think that that is something that we need to focus on a little bit more. But hey, what do I know? Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see y'all again in another video. Thank you, and if you have any updates for this, let me know. Peace.